Okay, we are starting a lesson on converting metric and imperial units. We know that metric is what we use officially in Canada and in South America too, and a lot of parts of the world. And imperial is what they use mostly in Great Britain and the States. But because we do so much trade with the States, we have to know how to do the imperial stuff. Now, the metric was like meters, centimeters, kilograms, milliliters, liters. Imperial was more like the inches, quarters of an inch, eighths of an inch, feet, yards, ounces, pounds, and that kind of stuff. So we need to be able to know how to do it, go from one to the next. And before we do that, let's look at how we would convert money, because I think this would make it a little easier. So how many nickels in 1/4? How many nickels in 1/4? Answer, please. There are 5 nickels in 1/4. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. 25 cents is equal to 25 cents from the quarter. So we could set up an equation that will look like this. 1Q is equal to 5N. And now this is a very special kind of equation because it's got a 1. And that will make it really convenient for us. It means that 1/4 is the same as 5 nickels, which means that these nickels are 5 times as many quarters. And quarters are 5 times less, or 5 times less than the number of nickels. So we're gonna have this operation going that I'll show you in just a second. Let's say they ask us a question and they say, hey, how many nickels in 3/4? How many nickels? If I got 3 of these quarters, how many nickels will I have? Okay. We just need to ask one question. Am I gonna have more nickels or less nickels than quarters? Well, if it's 1/4 gives me 5 nickels, I'm gonna have a lot more nickels than quarters. How many more? Well, 5 times more. And there it is. We're gonna say we're gonna multiply by 5. That gives us 15, which means that we're gonna have 15 nickels for 3/4. And if you can look in the picture here, you can see that, yeah, that's true. I got 5, 10, 15 nickels for the 3/4. So that kind of made sense. So because I have more nickels, I multiply by 5 times more. But what if they ask me the other way around? They say, hey, how many quarters are equal to 25 nickels? How many quarters are there equal to 25 nickels? Well, there's less quarters than nickels. Actually, there's like 5 times less, which means that instead of multiplying it by 5, we're going to do the opposite. We're going to divide by 5. And 25 divided by 5 is equal to 5, which means that 5/4 is exactly the same amount of money as 25 nickels, because we went from the big one to the small one. So let's kind of round it up here. 1/4 is equal to 5 nickels. That relationship is very easy and important to us because there's a 1. That's really, really nice and neat for us. It's 5 times bigger, and this is 5 times smaller. So going from the small to the big, we need to multiply it by something. And in this case, it's 5, but that's going to change depending on the relationship. So now we multiply it by 5. If I'm going from nickels to quarters, well, there's less quarters. There's 5 times less. So I'm going to divide by 5 to get my answer. Now, we're not going to be dealing much with like nickels and quarters. We're going to talk about inches and meters. And the same thing is going to be apply. Like one's going to have a 1, and the other one's going to be bigger, and one's going to be smaller. So when we go to the bigger, we multiply by that number, whatever the number is. And we go from the big one to the small one. We're going to divide by that number to get to the other unit.